Golden Sound Twice. I'm sorry I've been away for a while, doing my new job. It's been fun, it's been great. Let's get down to business before I lose the lighting. Cause natural lighting, y'all, and that's what I rely on. Yay. It already looks pretty grainy and gross. So, today we're going to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtle Power 2003 series, and we're going to be talking about the turtles and individual characters, them as themselves. It's going to be fun! But before I do, happy birthday to Sassatello. I'm 1,000 years late, and I'm really sorry about that. And look, I guess you can't tell like this. But, so, see, look, I did the cool little comic thing. See? But I'm wearing Ninja Turtle. Doesn't that just look super, super cool? Wearing Donnie. This is literally the only shirt I have that's just Donnie. And, of course, it can't be the 2003 series. It has to be the 1980 series, which is super adorable. But I'm like, I want my favorite version. So, let's talk Donatello, shall we? I'm super biased. Donatello is my favorite turtle, and in pretty much the entire franchise, he's my favorite. Like, when people are like, oh, I don't have a favorite, but here's my favorite, that's me, because I'm like, oh, I can't choose out of all of the characters. Like, they're all so fabulous. My favorite's Donatello. Get that out of there. Get that confession out. It's Donnie. He's my favorite. And let's get close and personal, guys. There's so many reasons why he's my favorite, and yes, I absolutely, totally did my makeup just for this. Got my purple going. Got my purple. Can you tell? No, you cannot really. Because the lighting's terrible. Because I took too long. Oh, are those sirens out there? Well, they just know. They just know. They're like, hey, she's doing a TMNT review. We gotta get those sirens going. Alright, anyway. Down to business. Alright, so there are so many reasons why Donatello is one of my favorite characters. Or at least, he's one of my favorite brothers. Because why not? First of all, so let's talk about the pros and cons of 2003 Donatello. So here are the pros. As always, everybody knows that Donatello is the genius of the group. Like, that's actually kind of sometimes what his stereotype is, where everybody's like, yes, he's the genius, and that's it. And it's like, no, there's so much more going on with Donatello. And is that him? Nope, that's Raph. Where is he? There he is on my poster. Yeah. So, anyway, sorry, Raph. So, oh man, just to boil down all the reasons why he's my favorite. So yes, his intellect is always astounding. He can take nothing. Like, he can just take some bolts and rams, and that makes no sense. He can do so much. He was on a different planet, and he was able to turn alien technology into something that he could create and work with. It took him 3 weeks to understand and read Triceraton language, and he can also speak, not only can he speak English, but Japanese and Italian, and I'm sure there's other countless languages that he can speak. He's just so intelligent, and oh man, I have such a high respect to that. And it's not just the mechanics that he focuses on. He also focuses on engineering. He focuses on biochemistry. He focuses not so much on the med field, like when Leonardo in the Battle Nexus episodes where he was poisoned and was dying, Donatello expressed his frustration and his anger at how he couldn't do anything for Leonardo. But then later on down the road in a different season, Donatello was able to patch up a gentleman who had been shot in the chest, although again he couldn't really do anything more than that medically. So with medical engineering, not so much. But when it comes to most of the sciences, he's extremely intelligent and talented. It's a huge talent that he has, that not only can he learn it, but he can create and he can produce what he sees in his mind. But also, I think we need to just kind of poke a lot of fun at him, because he can create all these complex backgrounds and blue boards and sketches when it comes to inventions and technology that he is creating. But when he tries to draw a normal sketch, he just does a little stick figure. He's like, "Oh man, that's all I can do. That's all I've got the talent for." And you're like, "Yeah, sure." Because in the other episode, you didn't completely show us a scaled version of what you had done for the battle shell. Yeah, no, you didn't. No, that wasn't you in the slightest. Yeah, no. So I think, well, I can address that later on. Back. So not only does he create the technology to help the turtles out with, but sometimes he comes up with the plans. Like, yes, Leonardo comes up with the plans, but Donatello is an integral part in that, where Leo will be like, all right, talk to my wee man, what we got going on, and Donatello will be like, facts, and here's what we can do, and here's what I can do. And Leo's like, good, let's work with that. And so Donatello is an intricate part to making their missions work, because they rely on his technology, they rely on his intelligence, and they rely on his creativity. And that's another thing I really love about Donatello. He's a very creative soul, very just creative. There's no other word for it. I enjoy watching those episodes where he can just go crazy and do all these fun different things. And again, it's not limited to one thing. Usually he has so much combined, where he has like technology, and you'll have chemistry and biochemistry and genetics, sometimes, all combining into these amazing things. It's really fun to watch. Now, as it goes to being a fighter, he's actually very skilled, but he's also a pacifist, and he's not a pacifist in that he'll let you push him around, but in that he would rather try to find a solution by talking out a problem than instantly going into a battle. And I think a lot of that stems from the fact that he is a very compassionate person, and that, like, for example, when he met the monsters, and found out about their story. I mean, yes, he did fight them there. Like, he definitely, if you put his family in danger, he's like, yes, I will fight you. It's going down. Y'all gonna die. But back to the compassion though, when he found out, like in season, I believe, yeah, it was season 1, and they found those monsters that had been humans, and the lighting's changing, so therefore the angles are gonna change. I'm sorry, this is so bumpy. All right, so when he had found when they had found the underground world, and they found the humans who had been tortured and experimented on by the Shredder, and when they were of no use anymore, they were, slated to be killed, and they all survived, but they had turned into these subterranean monsters. Donatello spent, oh goodness knows, he probably spent months trying to figure out a way to turn them back to being human. In nanotech, when the nanobot had that childlike personality, Donatello was the first one to be like, let's reach out to it, because he's only had a bad influence and a bad role model. He doesn't know about, how to not be this way, and, what can we do to help that? He's the first one that's always, whenever the homeless characters are involved, he's the first one to be on that scene, like, here's some blankets, I got food for you guys, what do you all need? Do you need shelters? I will build you shelters. And when homeless people have gone missing and the police aren't doing anything about it, he's the first one to be infuriated. So, and as it goes down the road, we see that when it comes to a lot of their human friends and other characters that they meet, Donatello seems to display the most compassion towards them. However, this doesn't always mean that Donatello's the most empathetic or the most, like, socially gifted. Donatello, like, when he's comfortable, he's great, but he can also, like, close himself off. Man, I'm looking like a ghost here. Gotta get myself some lighting, get some cameras, and doing all that stuff. Anyway, oh well, sorry, y'all get to work with this. Let's go. So, rant. So, I feel that Donatello, he sometimes can seclude himself, and sometimes, I mean a lot of the times, where they'll have to be like, come on, you need to eat, come on, you need to come out and hang out with everybody, and he's like, I could, but creativity and inventions. Did you sleep? No, but, oh well. And so he struggles a lot sometimes, and sometimes, I mean a lot of times, with coming out of his shell and just being there in the moment. A lot of times he's like, I'm going to invent this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go seclude myself for the next several hours. Nobody talk to me. And sometimes that can be a really good thing, because it can most of the time save the day. Other times it's a really bad thing. You need to eat and sleep, child. Like, spend time with your family. Do that. And then another thing about Donatello that does not ever get addressed, and I know we're all thinking it, and y'all know y'all know what I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna adjust the lighting. Oh, hey, look, I don't look like I'm translucent and dead anymore. That's lovely. I do not, in fact, want to look like I am a zombie, contrary to popular belief. So, one thing that the entire fandom, I feel like I can speak for everybody, not just myself, but everybody when I say this, is that Donatello, 2003 Donatello, has some major PTSD going on there when they did Same as It Never Was. What was that? I remember being a small human and watching that and just tears streaming down my face. That was not okay, ever. Never was it okay, because it was never addressed again. Donatello was sent into an apocalyptic world where he finds out that most of his friends are dead, where he finds out that Master Splinter is dead, and that Shredder is ruling the world. Kind of an issue. He runs into his family. They're dysfunctional. They've fallen apart. They claim that he abandoned them. Mikey has lost an arm. Raph has lost an eye. Leo is blind. Like, nothing's going good. And then he's like, no, we're going to stand up and we're going to fight the Shredder. And they do. And all of his brothers die. The only two survivors of that battle was Donatello and April. And that was intense, it was emotional, and it was horrible. I still sometimes will kind of pause, and you just hear their dying gasps, and you're like, why? Why would you not only scar me this way, why would you scar Donatello this way? He has not done anything to deserve this. And then it's never addressed again. Donatello never shows signs, other than, like, when they get him, and they whoop him out of that world, they go, whoop, and they get him to where his brothers are at, the current alive brothers, so they get him to there, and so it goes, and then he has that moment where he's like, oh, you guys are alive, and he hugs them so tightly, and we know, for Donatello, where his family means more to him, more than his alone time, more than his scientific time. His family means the most to him. And he watched them all die. And then he gets shoved back into his own reality and he sees them all alive again, so he gets that horrible whiplash. We all know that he's having PTSD, and it is never discussed again. And it's really frustrating and really infuriating, because I think that we as the fans just needed that closure to know that he was okay, that he was going to be okay, that there was going to be like a road to recovery. I think it could be argued even, though, that it still bothered him because, and just talking about this now, I just remember this one episode, and oh gosh, because I didn't think about it until now, of course I don't remember the title, but it was in season 4, because Moody Leo is still a thing. There's another PTSD child, but we will talk about him later. So Donnie was, it was when they were being attacked by the Mystic Ninjas, that's right. And they watched April and Casey die in those mind dreams that they were having, and Donatello was completely destroyed. He could not function, and he kept blaming himself. And we all know that he was reliving and remembering that world where everybody he loved and cared about died. And in season 3, that episode where they go to save Angel's brother, who's been taken over by a nightmare creature. Even then, with all of that, and when he's having those nightmares, because that creature was creating those nightmares for them to relive over and over and over, when he's going through those motions, and Angel died in that dream of his, he went crazy. Anytime, especially after Same as It Never Was, like already he was so, he loves so deeply and so much, and he's so compassionate, and so even like during those times prior to all of the Same as It Never Was shenanigans, he already struggled with the idea and the loss of somebody, like we saw when he lost Kirby and how upset he was by all of that. He had only met this gentleman for a few hours and he was feeling that loss. But then after Same as It Never Was, it was like that feeling, that loss that was like, here went skyrocketed, and it was never addressed again. He has terrible PTSD. He has terrible, we know that he's having nightmares about it. And I've seen the comics that people have done about it, and it hurts. It hurts so much. And it's like we were never given that cathartic release, that he was at least going through some sort of therapeutic something to recover from that. I mean, I know I need it. So, yeah, there's that. There is that tidbit there to his character. What other fun things can we talk about him other than his sass, his lovely sass? It is fabulous. I remember in season 1, don't remember the episode, but the title, but I do remember the episode itself, where Turtle Titan, yes, there we go. So it's where Turtle Titan was becoming the fame. So Mikey wants to be Turtle Titan. And I just remember there was this scene where Donatello just whips around and he goes, "Excuse me?" And y'all, I was saying that for like 5 ever after that, because I was just like, sassy Donatello. Yes, yes, yes. What an icon. His sass gives me so much life, where he can just interweave all of his intellectualness into that sass, and he can just burn a bitch with that, and it's kind of like the greatest feat ever. I just the love of that, his sass, just life. He is the crazy mom friend, and I say crazy because yes, when it comes to protecting his family, he's very on point. He's like, I'm going to protect everybody now. Put my arms all around you. But he's crazy because he will throw himself, the dude will throw himself off a building to test out his experiments. So yeah, he's the crazy mom friend. And it's like, you don't know if you can trust him or if you can't trust him. And we all know that if we were to take his blood and test it, that he would have more caffeine going through his system than he would have mutagen. So I don't know if he's so much a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and if he's not so much a Teenage Mutant Coffee Bean. So that's Donatello, guys. All 18 minutes summed up right there is the turtle that we love and adore. So let's go back to it. Yes, very intelligent, very compassionate, can be a social recluse because of his intelligence. And one thing that wasn't covered is that, and we didn't cover this so much in the 2003 series, but I do know in the IDW comics, they've been really talking about it in that reboot, where he will say basically yes, I'm the most intellectual one here, and it's actually getting to the point where it's getting on his brother's nerves, and they're like, yeah, quit telling us we're dumb. And I don't know how I feel about that, because on the one hand, it adds a little bit of vanity to his personality that it's unfortunately, I have met people who are as smart as Donatello, and they do behave that way, where they're like, yes, I'm the smartest one in the room, and it's like, oh yeah, but smarts aren't all that there is, just saying. So I don't like that being added to his personality. So I really like the fact that 2003 Donatello is more humble than anything. Oh yeah, he'll definitely he'll pat his back and be like, yeah, I'm the greatest there is. But he's also such a dork. He'll be like, I'm the smartest person in the room, and then trip and fall flat on his face, and everybody's like, sure you are, babe. Sure you are. Like, he's such a dork, and it's great. Like, he's such a dork. One time, he's fighting a group of foot ninjas, and how does he respond? You're thinking, yes, he'll use his ninjutsu and his bow staff and perfection. No, the little dork sticks his pole into the ground. He's like, hey guys, watch me. I'm gonna do my favorite ninja trick from a movie. And everybody's like, bro, that's a movie. That doesn't work. And sure enough, it didn't work. So, dork Donatello. So not only is he a sassy Donatello, he's a dork Donatello. He's a smart Donatello. He's a compassionate Donatello. He's a socially recluse Donatello, but he's a caring Donatello. He's also just a dork. He's just a major dork. Really, actually, that's all we have to say about him, is that Donatello is a dork, and we love him for it. So that's my long review on Donatello. I hope you all enjoy this. And again, happy birthday, Sassatello. I hope you and everybody else enjoyed this. I'm loving this comic graphics. I think I'm going to have to do this more often. So, until next time, the Golden Sound Twice out.